Hello everyone. Started a minute later than I usually try to. I got a little distracted messing with camera angles, so that's my bad, but I don't think any of you will notice the difference. Hi Derpy, hi Beans, it's good to see both of you. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. I myself am doing alright. I was a little sleepy today. I took a nap right before this. I woke up, about half an hour ago, I think, and I'm honestly still a little groggy, but maybe these spooky stories will make me wake up a little bit, give me the shivers. Oh, you've got good news, Beans? What's going on? Derpy, wow, can't believe you were late on your last stream for a while. I know, I'm a slacker, a real scuff streamer for sure. But I hope you're well rested, Beans. You and your friend had a workout competition and you won? That's wonderful, Beans. I'm so happy for you. What kind of stuff did you do for the competition? So, today we have two stories lined up. The first one is called Aesthetically Pleasing, and the second one is The Tale of Robert Elm. I have not read either of these, but I believe both of them are tagged with dismemberment, so we might have some gruesome stuff in store. Beans, you didn't sleep properly last night again? Oh, I'm sorry. I really hope that one day you can get a hold on that sleeping situation. He beat you. Oh, we did push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and planks. It's quite a bit. He beat you in planks and sit-ups, and then you beat him in the rest. That's really cool. I'm glad you have someone that you can work out with so that you two can kind of motivate and push each other. That's really cool. Derpy, you went to your step-sibling's birthday party yesterday? Oh, nice. How was that? Happy belated birthday to your step-sibling. Well, once we kind of finish our introductory chat, let a little people trickle in, we'll start reading our stories. And I don't know, if we finish the two stories a little early, the second one seems kind of long, so I don't know how long to expect it. Normally I have another story planned out just in case I finish, but I don't today. So if we finish early, maybe we'll just have some like cozy ASMR or something like that. Beans, you still have a bit of energy from your coffee, so you may you have a number, please. Let's go with 67. That's the number I am feeling today. It calls to me from the void. Derpy, it was good. It was a small gathering of their friends and family. Oh, well, that's nice. I'm glad you had fun. Nice number. I'm glad you like it, Nate. Wow, you're not Nate, you're Beans. I'm glad you like it, Beans. Alright, well, let's go ahead and start our stories. All right, we'll shift the camera. There we go. It's a little better, our usual camera angle. Yeah, we'll have it right there. That way, when I look at it, I know where you guys are. Hi, Sawi. Almost missed it. Fell asleep. Well, I'm glad you woke up in time for some spooky stories. Although I hope you're not in desperate need of the sleep, 'cause I would much rather you get your sleep than watch me tell some stories. But I'm glad you're here, Sawi, since it is the last one we'll have for a little while. Doing as good as you can? That's good. I'm glad to hear it, Sawi. It was too bad that you crashed in VR earlier. Otherwise, we could have hung out a little longer. Alright. Story number 1 is Aesthetically Pleasing by Grey Owl. I'm not a fan of altering my appearance, but it's what I have to do to blend in with society. Most males claim they dislike the charade most women allude to. They claim they want a natural beauty, but drool over the overprocessed and overdone celebrities that aren't any different from the girls walking around within their own town. Because of this standard, because we are told to resemble the unrealistic beauty of the women of Hollywood, girls lather on makeup, blurring out their imperfections daily with various makeup brushes. I'm no different than those girls. I love makeup, I really do, but it's a hassle. My boyfriend has to wait in the living room for hours as I get ready for a simple movie date, attempting to perfect some imaginary caliber of aesthetic. Like many women, I refuse to leave the bathroom until I am fully made up, smiling cheerfully within the mirror's false reflection of myself. Unbeknownst to my boyfriend and the male population in general, natural is no longer in. Anyone within my community that is without the props and the gimmicks are no longer sought after, regardless of the beauty they may display. If you do not display the sultry eyes, the plump red lips, the radiant skin, or the long, luscious hair, you are nobody to the world. You are but a monster. Even though us women have come to this shallow conclusion, we are often pressured by our mates to appreciate our raw beauty, though we, including myself, have undergone severe torment countless times in the past by boyfriends who have witnessed our natural selves. I want to be able to love my appearance. I want to be self-confident. And to shout to the world that I am beautiful, but reality will not allow such blasphemous speech. Regardless of my fear, regardless of the unknown reaction my mate would have of me, I broke down enough to allow my boyfriend to stay the night. How silly of me. As I showered, I heard the bathroom door crack open. To anyone else, that was an invite to more adventurous routes of intimacy, but to me it was fear-inducing. Just as I expected, the familiar sound of shock filled the air. "What the fuck?" he said shakily. I turned the water off, slowly pulling the shower curtain open with hesitant hands. Once exposed, my boyfriend's gaze met mine, and though his eyes traveled up and down my nude body, the one he was so in love with previously. The look he displayed when he met my face was heartbreaking. "Can we talk about this?" I questioned as he began backing away, his eyes wild with horror. He shook his head, trembling as he stumbled over his own shoes. "Where the fuck is your nose? What the fuck are you?" he questioned hysterically. I let out a deep sigh, extending my arms towards him. "Please, don't do this," I said, pleading with him. He continued backing away, turning his head swiftly towards the door, calculating how far a run it would be to make it out. "You can't leave," I said, shaking my head as tears fell down my cheeks. Because of my sudden, deepened voice, his attention turned back to me, his expression even more horrified with the swift change of tone. As they all have in the past, he sprinted towards the door, hectically rotating the knob, forgetting to unlock the countless locks bolted on the frame. I watched on for a while, observing his horror, shock, and obvious repulsion of me. The anger began to swell as it had for years. The disappointment I felt as I witnessed him trying to abandon me, forgetting the amount of courage it took me to reveal myself, without the added hair, the fake tan, the prosthetic nose and ears, the hazel contact lenses, the collagen-filled lips. He didn't appreciate my efforts to please him. He thought I was hideous, just as his predecessors had. So, as he struggled for the last lock, screaming for help, I walked over, helping him unlock the door. Once outside, he began running down the hall, unaware of the growing population of women in the halls. Once he ran up to one of the women, pointing at the monster he pegged me as. The woman reassured him, lowering him to the ground as various others gathered around him. Slowly, realization sunk in of his dire situation. The women all removed their masks, the ones my fellow sisters were confined in because of societal standards, and began ripping him apart. The end. That was a rather short one, but I also kind of didn't focus too much on chat, so I'm going to catch up to that now. I don't know what I thought of that one. It was interesting for sure. Very very hard on the social commentary, which, is common for horror. Let's see. All right. There we go. Trying to get the chat in a good place. Hi, Nate. I don't think you showed up before I started the story, or before I shifted focus to the story anyway. Ooh, oh wow, I missed a lot. You guys were talkative. I should have paid more attention to the chat. I'm sorry. Caught you lacking while typing recipes. How is everyone? Doing good. Oh, Sawi, you got to see Admiral and Zune later? That's great. Nate, I'm doing pretty well. I had a nap before stream, so I'm still a little... Well, I'm waking up a little bit after I started the first story, but I was a little groggy when I started the story. I hope you're doing well also, Nate. Oh, wait, Nate, did you burn yourself? Right hand is wrapped up and lathered in... Burnt it making brownies, but you're... Oh, Nate. Well, I'm glad you're all right. I hope it's not too bad of a burn, but if you've got it wrapped and lathered, it sounds like it was probably a pretty solid burn. But yeah, I like Sawi said, I hope you heal fast. You hardly even scar at this point. Oh my gosh, I think you might be a mutant. You have that regeneration power like Wolverine and Deadpool. I don't know if there's any other X-Men characters who have the regeneration ability. I think it might just be those two. Regenerative powers. Exactly, Beans. Could see you looking... Oh my gosh, Sawi, you and I had the same idea about Wolverine. Derpy. Kinda hoping you wouldn't show up so you could farm fish. Oh my gosh, Derpy. Don't let the jealousy get a hold of you. It's okay. You'll let Derpy have the next 5 minutes of stream, Nate. You're so generous. Y'all are fishing fiends. You got no room to talk, Beans. You have plenty of fish on the board as well. But yes, I agree, they are fishing fiends. You'll become wealthy in gold by any means necessary. Oh no. Sawi, you're a fiend in general. I suppose that's why you burned up with Beans' prayers. Ooh, a new record. Nice. I don't know what the record was for, but I'm proud of you. Oh, a good part of that felt like the author venting about... Yeah, I don't know. It was hard to tell if it was author venting about personal frustrations or like someone who doesn't wear makeup and stuff trying to put their own spin on it, because it was very exaggerated, and at least part of that was, you know, for the story, but sometimes it gave that vibe of like men writing women, you know. Although it's hard to tell for sure, because in the end, you know, it was like, I don't know if it was supposed to be all human women are like that, or if this was just a particular group of women. I think it was implying that that's what like all women are like in this reality, kind of like a Twilight Zone episode or something. But for me at least, it gave some of that men writing women vibe. I did enjoy it though. It was short and, you know, it was decent. Oh no, Derpy, you burned your hand doing dishes. No, what are you guys doing? Why are you burning yourselves? Gotta take care of yourselves. I won't be here for a while to take care of you. Oh my gosh, Admiral was spamming redeem. How dare. You know you fish, but you haven't in a while. That's fair, Bean. Wait, no, didn't you fish like a stream or two ago and you got like a record thing? You got like the shark or something? Or am I thinking of someone else? Did someone else get the shark? Sorry, which you mean you know, because you were also spamming redeem. Oh my gosh, you're too much. Hi, Donzi. It's good to see you. How are you doing? I hope you're feeling a little less busy than you have been. It's important to take those rests every now and then so you don't burn yourself out. You're all right, just nursing your shoulder. How about... Oh, I hope it gets better soon, Donzi. Oh, the water here gets boiling hot from the tap, Derpy. Half an hour. Turn the water down, you dork. You don't need to have it boiling hot the whole time. I say that as I keep the water like as hot as it'll go when I'm doing dishes. It doesn't get boiling hot though. It does get hot and I should turn it down a bit at some point, but I'm fine. I don't burn myself. It just gets hot. Sawi, you mean you would have written this story because you feel like a monster? Yeah, it definitely could have been written from the point of view of anyone, like anyone who has that mental image, whether it's dysphoria or just, you know, that societal pressure. All of it's connected to the societal pressure. Like, that's a big part of the dysphoria. So yeah, it definitely could have been written by a number of different type of people, and you know, as much grief as it gave men, even men feel those pressures as well. It just kind of took the focus. It took the point of view of the feminine side because of all the beauty standards being just a part of the societal norms. That's getting changed though, and I'm really happy about that. Like, it's a lot more often for guys to be like wearing makeup and taking care of themselves, not just in like a femboy sort of sense, you know, but like, you know, guys who, you know, have a very masculine appearance. They're taking care of their skin. They're wearing makeup like concealer and stuff more often, and I'm really happy to see that. I would love for that to be normalized because everyone deserves to look how they want to look and be happy with their appearance. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on chat here. Beans, you forgot. Oh my gosh, you forgot about your record shark, Beans. How could you? That was such a big catch. You shot right to the top. Donzi, you dislocated it deadlifting today, but you're used to it. It happens a lot. Oh, I'm sorry, Donzi. At least you're used to it, though, so it's, you know, it sucks that it's routine, but at least you know what's going on. How long does it usually take for it to get better? Do you have to do that thing where you like pop it back in or whatever? Like I see that sort of thing on movies and stuff, but I have no idea how accurate it is. Yes, Sawi should have died. That okay, you should die comment. I was like, oh my gosh, Sawi, but then you corrected it. That wasn't hate. Oh my gosh, you guys are chatting so much. I've got to be catching up. I've got to be. I mean, your dysphoria comes mostly from yourself. I mean, that is true. Like, dysphoria comes from within, but like, you know, it'd be difficult to prove such a thing because of, you know, how ingrained societal norms are in us. But like, if we didn't have those societal standards of beauty and like what it means to look like a man or a woman, you know, of course there's way more than that. But ooh, you just got the Vive trackers, but it's a hassle to set up. Welcome, Onesie Buns. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're enjoying the stream so far. Um, yeah, 4.0s. I honestly don't know if I have 2.0s or 3.0s or whatever. I paid attention when I originally got them, and then just straight out of my head, I'm really not good with that stuff. I may be a streamer, but I am not technically savvy at all. Like I don't even know any video editing and stuff. Like I need to learn that. I just I set up the camera and I start doing stuff, and you guys see how much I move the camera around throughout my streams anyway. Oh, but as I was saying, the dysphoria, like if we didn't have those societal beauty standards, dysphoria would manifest a lot differently. And if we didn't have any real difference in how we perceive the genders, like if it was just as normal for a cis guy to look like a super feminine as it was for any woman to look very feminine, we'd have a see, that's the thing, Sawi. Then wouldn't we just not have trans people? That's an interesting question, and it's something that we'll never be able to answer because we don't live in a society like that. It's very possible, though, that, yeah, we wouldn't have trans people. Because I don't know where the research is on it currently, but, like, I think transness is, in a sense, very tied to culture. It's the same way where we have various and I don't mean to like compare transness to mental affliction. I don't mean that at all. But like take hikikomori, for example, in Japan, where people will, completely withdraw from the outer world. That's a very Japanese exclusive thing, though I think we have started to see it spread a little bit as globalization of culture occurs, but it's that affliction of hikikomori, it's very based in their society and culture. So we definitely, there's a precedence for having conditions, afflictions, mental states. Oh, thank you for joining, John Castius. I hope I pronounced that right. I hope you're enjoying the stream. I'm sorry, I'm kind of derailed from the stories. I'm trying to catch up on chat and I get very easily distracted. I just love talking to you guys. That's my favorite part about this stream. But yeah, anyway, I think I should move on from that topic. We don't want to be here all night. Okay, let's see. Beans, your mom's making you use more face products and you got to say it helps your absolutely. Like any of you, if you don't already, like, at least use some sort of moisturizer on your skin after you get out of the shower. It feels so nice, especially if you live, I mean, it depends on the moisture level where you live, but like I live in a very dry area, and having a face routine where I just put on some toner and face cream after my shower, it makes my face feel so much better. So yeah, I'm glad you're doing that, Beans. I imagine South Africa is Joel the sturgeon. Why does that sturgeon have a name? There's gotta be some lore with that. Anyway, Onesie, can you read? I'm sorry it took me so long to get to that message, Onesie. Like I said, I'm pretty behind on chat. I'm trying to catch up, I promise. Don't hold it against me. Oh no, there's a funny part of the lightning scar, Nate. Beans, you haven't talked to anybody in a while? What do you mean you haven't talked to anybody in a while? You've been busy? Hey, it's Donzi. Yeah, you pop it back in. Depends on how bad of a dislocation. Might need an extra set of. Oh, so you've actually gotten to where you can do it yourself. I'm impressed. I'm kind of a baby with that stuff. I don't know if I'd be able to do. I mean, if it happened regularly, I'd probably get the hang of it eventually. But yeah, I'd probably need help most of the time, at least at first. But I'm glad you've got the routine down for it. Derpy, thank you for letting Onesie know about me being behind on chat. When I get behind like that, I do feel bad if someone like does a first time chat and I'm not there to see it. Ooh, Sawi. Oh no. Sawi, why are you spamming hydrate? Oh dear. Alright. Let's do a couple hydrates, we'll do a stretch, and then we'll do a posture check when we sit back down, because you guys want me to stay behind on chat. You're taking a cue from Brayden. You're gonna keep me as long as you possibly can. I'm being held hot. Chug? Oh my gosh, Sawi. Okay. I did need that though. That was very good. Thank you, Sawi. Oh my gosh, how far behind on chat am I? Alright, let's change our view. We'll do... Oh my gosh, what happened to my leg? Okay, my leg is fine. Alright, let's do a little bit of stretching. And you all get up and stretch too, if you need to. If you've been sitting for a while, you gotta get that blood flowing. Also don't want your muscles to atrophy. Although I can't speak too much because I definitely have let myself go as far as muscle strength. To be fair, part of that... Oh, that leg cracked. To be fair, though, a solid chunk of that is... Oh, other side cracked, too. Good chunk of that is the estrogen's fault. I can and will blame the estrogen. All right, there we go. Now back here to me. Oh, and posture check, I almost forgot. All right. Onesie, the 4.0s, basically like they come with no base state. Oh. No dongle, just a dongle and 3 trackers. So they don't use the base station anymore? Or it just doesn't come with the base station, like you need to buy the base station separate. Hi Mew, it's good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Sorry I'm taking so long to get to the stories. I'm catching up on chat. The scars on your butt, Nate, the lightning scar, got struck post skinny dipping and was walking back to your van. Oh my gosh. Okay, if you have to be struck by lightning, like, I don't know, I think I'd be pretty amused at having it on my bottom too. Oh my gosh, John, you're making me stretch again. How could you? You guys want to keep me here? I'm in purgatory. All right. We should do something different. I don't know a lot of stretches though. Ooh, we can do like oh my gosh. My hamstrings are so tight. I have not been able to loosen them. Like, no matter what stretches I do. It's probably because I don't do them consistently enough. This does feel good, though. Oh no, what was that? Nick Mick, thank you for following. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're enjoying this stream. Gosh, I'm not even actually telling the stories. I'm just rambling. I got through the first story and now I'm completely derailed trying to catch up on everything. But I hope you're doing well. If you've already chatted, I will get to you. I don't know how behind I am at this point. Ooh, Mew, you're looking into 3D pen art and Monster Hunter World cosplay? Very cool, Mew. You'll have to if you ever do a cosplay, I need to see it. Right. Okay. We're moving. I'm skipping a lot of the more minimal chats. Who threw a vape in the Astral pond? Did someone catch a vape? Oh my gosh, thank you for cleaning that up. The Astral pond is a very dirty place. People just don't respect it anymore. Don't worry, you said it right. Perfect, John. I'm glad. Although it worries me that I'm just getting to the... Oh my gosh, that's an interesting fish. Yellow mandarin fish. It's very pretty, though. I like it. Oh my god, Joel. Oh no, this was back when Joel was here. I am so behind. Okay. I'm gonna go speedrun chat. Usually when I get busy, you cut off contact with everyone. I see, Beans. I totally get that. Make sure you take some time to get a little bit of socialization, though, because, you know, even if it's just like 30 minutes out of your day, you need to do something to clear your mind and just kind of relax. Of course, introversion levels versus extroversion levels also play into that, but, you know, make sure you're taking breaks and taking care of yourself. What we do in shots? Oh, this was the chug. Yeah, Sawi just bombed me with a couple hydrates, because Sawi is, despite being my mod, is the biggest proponent of waterboarding me. Maria. Hi, Maria. It's good to see you. A story stream. I'm sorry you can't appreciate some literary culture known as creepypasta. But how are you doing, Maria? I hope well. You're good? That's good to hear, Maria. I'm glad. I don't see you in here as much as often. Sometimes it's because you're in school. Oh, you're gonna go. You're probably not here then, and I'm just talking to no one. Oh, Derpy, thank you. Maybe you should put a cooldown on the hydrate. I don't think we need to worry about it. So far, it hasn't been abused. Like, we only put a cooldown back on the fishing because it was going like constantly. There's nothing wrong with the hydrate getting requested like 2 or even 3 times in a row. But if it ever does become a problem, we'll address it. That's kind of my philosophy with all of this is, you know, kind of just add rules as needed because I don't want to inundate you guys with restrictions and stuff. Like, I like you guys to have access to as much of the channel as possible as far as enjoying it. Beans, you fell? Oh my gosh, are you okay? Ooh, you fell on your knees? Ow. Was it on hard wood or something? I'm sorry, Beans. I hope you're okay. Nate will fish you out. Okay. Beans, your hamstrings hate you no matter what you do. I'm sorry you share that with me, but I'm glad I'm not alone. Skill/talent is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. I have definitely lost it. I have 0 skill and talent. You guys are just here because I bank everything on my charisma. I I just hope that I'm pleasant enough to be around that I don't get shooed away. I don't have a whole lot to offer in the way of skill. Now, should we really lean into the waterboarding joke? Oh dear. A good Ralph Wiggum, I'm in danger moment. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, Derpy, I see what you're talking about the hydrate redeem. I think we need to, I think we need to put a cooldown on it now. Let me just go ahead and do that real quick. Thank you very much, Sawi, for encouraging dissidents. I think that's the right word. Rebellion at any rate. You have successfully rallied chat against the poor streamer. Okay, let me put you know what? We're gonna take account of these hydrates after. We're gonna keep a tally. Give me just a sec to put a cooldown on it. Nobody steal my chair. It may be empty, but I'm still using it. Where? Viewer rewards, that's the one. Alright, where is hydrate? Edit. We are doing... Let's do... 2-minute cooldown for that one. There we go. Alright. It is in place now. And I've got to open up a notepad so I can keep a tally of all the hydrates you all redeemed, because now I am in debt. Because I cannot do all of those at once. So let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no, Nick, don't fall in with that crowd. They're bad eggs. I lost count. I need to start over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Unless I miscounted. But I think 17. So let me write that down on my notepad. Move chat out of the way. Pull up my keyboard. 17. So now you guys have me in hydration debt. Nick, your first time chatting is we're not gonna kill her. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for not killing me. I do appreciate that. I would like to continue living a while longer. Oh my gosh, Nate, another hydrate. Okay. We'll get that hydrate redeemed. So we don't need to add it to the debt. Oh my gosh, we might go late with with the second story because I think it's pretty long. Okay. But yeah, I hope you're doing well, Nick. I don't remember if I said that. I think you were one of the ones who followed, but I don't remember if I asked how you were doing. There we go. We're helping keeping her hydrated. Yes, you are, Sawi. Yes, you are. Very good at it. What a good mod. She has yet to know. Oh my gosh. Oh, another hydrate. Another 2 hydrates. You find swimming very relaxing, John? I really like swimming myself. Or maybe not swimming. Oh, let me add those 2 hydrates to the count before I forget. So that's going to be 19 instead of 17. And I'm definitely not getting all those hydrates done this time, so I'm going to have to add a counter for the next stream. Too much water at once can actually kill her. Yeah, that's why I'm not drinking it all right now. I think Scarlett was saying it was like, gosh, I don't remember. She said like there's a certain amount of gallons that'll give you water hydration poisoning or something. It's like watching a crash in reverse. Oh no. And that's where Derpy had the cooldown. Thank you, Derpy. Bigger cage for you. Astral's gonna change her mind. And I did. You were absolutely right, Beans. You're the one who trolls to make limits for the good of the world. You're a real vigilante, Nate. 2 or 3 times. Oh, you guys are too much bullying me. It's a problem now. This is why we can't have nice things. Yeah, you were very good, Beans. You're the teacher's pet today. You're just a little can. 20 hydrates. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think I'm close to catching up. Okay, I'm skimming through a lot of these. Oh my gosh. There we are. We made it. Okay. Helping you, Derpy, expanding your cage. Yeah, just 1 from the debt. So I have 19 to go. All right. Now we can start our second story of the evening. It's only 48 minutes in. That's not the worst it's been. All right. Let's send you back over there. And we can get started on this. Oh no, it's running away from me. We can get started on our next story, which is called Sawi, How Dare. Geez, I might have to put a limit on how many times a user can do it. I wish I could limit just Sawi though. Maybe Nate too. All right, we're up to 20. Okay, so this story is... Oh, who's the author? The author is G1 Pringle. I think we read a story from them before. G1 Pringle and the story is The Tale of Robert Elm. Part 1. The lights of the Seattle skyline suddenly ignite as the city comes alive with the sounds and sights of night. In a rundown bar, a lone man sits beneath the hum of a fluorescent overhead light as he holds his whiskey in shaky hands. The man is an enigma. He appears at the Spade habitually at 10 p.m. and leaves just before dawn, ordering the same refreshment each time, a tall glass of Irish whiskey, never speaking words far from the usual, or the occasional grunt or whisper. He is a shadow to everybody. To the passerby, this man is a nobody. He is merely a bum who went down on his luck and turned to the bottle like many before him. To those who know, however, the man's name is Robert Elm, and he has a story to tell. The night was fraught with frigid rain and sleet. The typically lively Spade was deserted, except for Robert. He sat in his usual spot, back left table, facing the wall, hunched over with his beverage in total silence, save for the hum of the light and the drumming of the bartender's fingers on the metal cash register. Oh my gosh, you caught an Oreo? Oreo Chromas? I'm gonna have to look at that one. Over the years, that elm had drifted in as the sun dipped below the horizon. The bartender had grown curious of his motives. Though he told customers the same old lost his job once to unwind excuse, in his heart he knew that there was something off-kilter about the whiskey-loving shadow. Tonight would be different. The bartender bit his lip, took a deep breath, and approached his loyal customer. The barkeep placed his hand on the table and inquired in the friendliest of tones, "How you doing?" Robert jolted upright as if he had heard a gunshot. He slowly lifted his head and peered deep into the bartender's face with his wide gray eyes. He possessed an unsettling and powerful stare that pierced the air in a way the bartender had never seen before. Oh no, I lost my spot. Oh, there it is. His mouth slowly slid open as he grumbled, "Fine, and you?" The bartender was stunned. He had expected the old geezer's usual response of a few quiet mumbles, but was greeted by a question that was startlingly normal. I'm just fine," the bartender said. "So, mister, I've been meaning to ask." Elm's slowly graying eyebrows perked with anticipation. "Why do you come here all the time?" The drunkard chuckled and asked in return, "Why do you care what an old man like me does with his time?" "Because," the bartender said with a look of confusion, "you have come to my bar at the same time of the night every night for the past 12 years, and I am just now hearing you speak. I think that's reason enough for me to ask." The old man burst into laughter that lasted nearly a full minute. Finally, his outburst died off, and he asked, "You wanted to know why I wasn't talking?" "Yes," yelled the bartender. "It's been a riddle I've been trying to figure out for years." Robert sat his drink on the table and said, Well, new friend. Honestly, I was waiting for you to ask me that question. And now that we have that elephant out of the room, have a seat across from me." The bartender obliged, took a seat across from his new acquaintance, and, with a look of sheer amazement on his face, asked, So, let me get this straight. You never said a word to anyone in this bar for 12 years because you were waiting for someone to come to you?
Yup.
The shade replied as the bartender gave a short laugh and continued. Well, sir, what have you been waiting for so long to tell someone? Robert Elm looked the bartender square in the eye and said,
My story, of course.
The bartender gave a quizzical expression as the drinker went on, never breaking his gaze.
The story of why I ended up here. The story of how I narrowly escaped death itself. And since I didn't see anyone else here, you, sir, are going to be the first one in a long time to hear my tale. You're in for a treat.
The old man cracked a crooked smile. Right, let's take a quick pause for some hydration and to catch up on chat. Henry's shoe. Oh my gosh, a shoe that has an owner. There's got to be some lore with this stuff. Woo, one hydration down. Back to 19. Oh no. There we go. My tracker strap caught on my joystick. Okay. Down from 20 to 19. Oh no, not 219, just 19. Oh, don't you dare look back. Oh, song lyrics. Okay, I just kind of skimmed, but it doesn't look like there's anything that needs attention. All right, perfect. Back to the story. Well, let's hear it then, the bartender said, and Robert chuckled again.
That's the spirit, kid. Grab a drink and get comfortable. You're in for quite a tale.
And so, Robert Elm began his story.
It all began back in November 1962. I was living in a small town in rural Iowa. Back then, everybody knew everyone else like family. It was a safe place. That's why my family settled down there back when the area was a barren patch of farmland. Through the entirety of my teenage years, I was chasing a girl named Elizabeth. I can practically see her now. As time went by, our relationship grew. After high school, we bought her uncle's house on 4th Street and slowly learned to live together as a soon-to-be married pair. This was a struggle, to say the least. Back when I was a younger man, I had a fiery temper that seemed to grow as we became closer to one another.
All right, so it looks like this guy talks pretty much the whole time. So I'm going to switch back to my regular voice for the bulk of this. Because, oh my gosh, I was almost going to pet you guys. Because I don't want to ruin my voice talking like that for the entirety of the story. All right. Let's move you back. I remember one specific instance when I heard she had wrecked my dad's Ford. I hit her across the face with a trash can lid. I had never regretted doing anything more than in my life. It wasn't even her fault. every morning for the next month, I would come downstairs to see the pale red bruise on her face and immediately get too choked up to speak. It was a wonder she kept me around. One night, everything fell apart. I can't even remember why, but she left me on the side of the road and told me to find your own way home, you sack of crap. I remember my heart sinking as she pulled away, and I began to wander the side of the empty country road. I'm unsure of how I got so sidetracked, but after about an hour of hysterical rambling, I had ended up halfway into one of the cornfields bordering the only road in and out of town. There I was, sobbing profusely, lashing out at the corn stalks with my fist, and wailing, "Elizabeth," and "I'm sorry," at the top of my lungs, with only the birds and the occasional scarecrow bearing witness. I hobbled aimlessly for what felt like hours, screaming and crying over what I had put my beloved fiancé through, until I decided to sit down in a barren patch about 15 feet across to catch my breath and form an apology for my eventual homecoming. After inspecting the area for any signs of danger, I laid my head down in the soft dirt to rest my eyes. Several hours of blissful, tear-free sleep later. Blissful, tear-free sleep passed before I was pulled awake by the rustling in the stalks. My heart skipped a beat and a chill ran down my spine. I bolted upright. Before me, a massive shape, garbed in a shimmering black cloak, slid out from the rows of crops. It moved towards me slowly, as if it was floating across the ground, though its feet were clearly visible, and it appeared to be human. It had pale, wrinkled hands that hung at its side as it drifted closer. It drooped its hooded head and spoke squarely into my face in a dry monotone. "Good evening, traveler." Stunned, I got up from the dirt and asked, "Who are you?" He answered, "Just a man on his way to a meeting." I looked at him, bewildered. "Why are you here?" I asked. He looked up and said, "I enjoy taking scenic routes. So much more peaceful than the hustle and bustle of the roadsides. Now, what I am wondering is who you are and why you are here." As I look back, I am surprised at how eager I was to reveal so much of myself to a total stranger. "My name is Robert," I said sheepishly. "My girlfriend dumped me out here 'cause we got in a fight and I hit her and she cried. And the tears were welling in my eyes again. "Say no more, friend," the man interrupted as he waved his hand. "I offer you a proposition. You may come with me, attend my meeting. My friends and I shall cheer you up, and we will take you back to your home in the morning. How does that sound?" A smile slowly formed on my face as I thanked the hooded figure. I reached out to shake his hand for the patronage, but he quickly recoiled, claiming there was no need to thank him. Together, we made our way through the remainder of the field and into the forest that formed an insulated border between patches of farmland. As we walked, I had more time to examine my new friend's figure. He was a titan of a man, to say the least, with hands that could easily cover my own twice over. Blending into the trees themselves, he towered over me at what I assumed to be well over 7 feet. He moved with surprising agility for someone his size, darting through the branches and over roots at a speed a tad slower than a jog. Oh no, my screen's running away from me. Sorry. Okay, come over here, you. That's better. This thing can be so finicky sometimes. I hope I have not missed any vital chat things. If there's anything I miss in chat that I need to tend to or that's directed specifically at me, could one of the mods pin it so I'm more likely to see it? Okay. No, it ran away again. What the heck? Okay. Now you stop that. Stay there. I had to walk nearly twice as fast to keep up. His robes still shimmered as they did in the cornfield, though the moon was no longer visible. Oddly, no matter how fast the man moved, his hood never failed to conceal his face. Growing bored of silence, I struck up a conversation. "So, what's your name?" The man glanced down and told me, "You may call me Lombard. It is one of my many monikers." "Okay, Lombard. Who are these friends of yours? And what is this meeting? And where are we going?" "Just a meeting, friend. Held here in the woods with some close acquaintances of mine." Sorry, I lost my place. "You needn't worry about it, Robert. Think of it more of a party. It will take your mind off of your troubles." It was at this moment I realized what I was doing was the exact opposite of what society had taught me. I was found lying in a field and decided to walk off with some strange hooded man to go and meet his friends in the woods. Heartbreak can drive people to do some crazy things. It wasn't long before we saw a light in the distance. As we grew nearer, the lights turned out to be a ring of torches lining a circular clearing containing rows of chairs and tables. An altar, draped with a red cloth, sat in the middle of it all. At each of the tables sat groups of people dressed similarly to Lombard. Some of them had their faces exposed and hoods down. "We have arrived," said Lombard with glee. "Sit down amongst the others and help yourself to some food and drink. The festivities will begin soon." I made my way to one of the less talkative groups and grabbed a free seat. As I recall, it was the only seat that wasn't taken. Next to me sat an old couple and a younger man with his hood up. When I asked each of them why they were here, I got a less than ideal response. The couple started cackling as if they had just heard the greatest joke of their lives, and the hooded man just grunted something I couldn't make out. Seeing no entertainment in the people around me, I decided to try the food. There were the occasional bits of bread surrounded by meats of all shapes and sizes. Having eaten a filling meal in town just a few hours before this all began, I was not exactly starving, so I decided to give the wine a try, which was in goblets sitting in front of each chair. I took a small sip and my mind took a kick in the pants. My vision became blurred with color, and I began to choke on my own tongue. The old woman told me that it stops hurting after the third glass and burst into a sickening laughter. After about 5 minutes, the effects of the drink finally subsided, and I silently poured the rest onto the ground. I didn't think any of them would notice. Suddenly, a bell rang out, and the diners stood up. For from their chairs in unison and approached the center of the clearing. Lombard made his way over as he walked me towards the center.
"How did you enjoy the refreshments, the guests?" he asked.
I held my tongue about my unpleasant experience at the table and said, "Everything was great. I've calmed down quite a bit now. What's next?"
"Excellent, my friend. I'm sure you will patch things up with that girl after tonight, and I'm glad to have been of assistance to you. But now, we have business to attend to."
We found ourselves standing in the center of a circle of hooded guests, all of them with hoods up and hands folded in front of them. Lombard instructed me to sit in the center of the ring. When I objected, he told me this was just a formality in order for the group to accept my presence amongst them for the night. I knelt as I was told, and Lombard took his place at the crimson altar. As I glanced around me, all the robed people seemed to be emanating a strange droning sound that rose and fell as the minutes passed. I looked up at my mountainous guide, who had turned to face the center of the circle, and to my amazement had drawn back his hood to reveal a sight I would never forget. On Lombard's long, broad shoulders sat the head of a goat, jet black, save for a stripe of white between its pale green eyes and spiraling ivory-colored horns that curled backward behind his ears. The thing that stood in front of me lifted his hands into the air, and the droning immediately ceased. Lombard's head reeled back as he shouted into the night, "Ladies and gentlemen of the Black Circle, I present to you the Pale." The crowd roared with cheers and jubilation. "On this night, we shall end the torment and bring about a new era of peace for our order." The younger man I sat next to earlier approached the orator. "My lordship," he whispered as he bowed on one knee. "I witnessed him earlier. He has not accepted the purifier. We cannot continue until he has." He then retreated back to his place and resumed the stance.
"Is that so?"
said Lombard quizzically.
"Well, then, I am sorry to delay my children, but the sacrament must wait."
The circle answered the statement with boos and howls of disapproval. A large member drew a curved blade from his robes and approached me. I attempted to stand, but was pulled down to my knees by an unseen force.
"For the love of Sekra, I've waited my whole life for this moment,"
the man shouted as he flipped the knife in his hand.
"Stop, you fool. You will undo everything,"
Lombard roared as he latched onto the man's arms. The last memory I have of that night was of the we must tax her with hydration for every chat checkup during this story to lessen her debt. Oh my gosh, you guys are so mean to me. Why are you bullying your streamer? Oh wait, why'd you... And then you delete. Oh my gosh. Well, I do need to hydrate anyway. So let's... New era of peace, pineapple pizza. I do need to hydrate anyway, so let's get this hydrate. We gotta get our last chance of bullying out before you take your vacation. Okay, I guess that's fair, Derpy. Trying to teach me to never take vacation again. I get it. 18 left now. No, we're still at 19 because Sawi just redeemed a hydrate, so it's balanced out still. Or not balanced out, but yeah, we're still at 19. A new era of peace. Hydrate. Alright. And that was the end of part 1. Like I said, this is going to be a longer one, so it'll definitely take the rest of our time here. I don't know if, I'm expecting to go a little late on this one. So make sure you're all comfy. Part 2. I awoke in a small, sparsely furnished room with white walls and dark brown hardwood floor. Based on what I saw around me, I was able to estimate that the building was built in the late 19th century. Might as well moisten your throat right before you do the voice. That's very true, Nate. Lombard's voice was not particularly kind either. Robert Elms was actually preferable to Lombard's. I attempted to pull my head from the pillow, but was met with a crippling pain in my forehead where the knife handle had struck me at the ceremony in the woods. My legs were sore and felt as though they were filled with cement. It made me shiver that I could not figure out what prevented me from standing at the ceremony. Muffled speech resonated from outside the room as the door opened. A goat-headed Lombard strolled into the room and closed the door behind him.
"Good morning, my guest," he bellowed. "I assume you enjoyed your nap."
"Yeah, I did," I answered. "Right after that friend of yours almost broke my nose. Oh my gosh, I forgot to send you guys away. Okay, there you go. I don't know which view you prefer, but I kind of like having the fireplace.
You needn't worry about him, my friend. His foolish actions have cost him his place in the order,"
he said with a reassuring tone. Lombard sat down on the bed next to me, and I instinctively wrenched my legs backwards.
"Calm thyself, friend. I am indeed human, and this is just a mask, nothing more."
"What about everything else? The mumbo-jumbo you guys were talking about, the goat head, the black circle? I want answers now."
You have a right to be frightened. All will be explained to you. Let me start from the beginning."
He readjusted himself on the bed to face me. How deep into stories are we? We have a guy telling Robert's story, and now Robert's telling this guy's story. We're going deep in. We're doing Inception, this story. Readjusted himself on the bed to face me.
"In the late 1800s, 2 cousins founded a town not far from here. It was a small farming community, very prosperous, a thriving community until the fever hit. Many died, including the mayor's daughter. In a last-ditch effort, the community banded together and stood united against the disease. They burned the village to the ground and moved into the mayor's farmhouse, the house you are sitting in right now. The plan was a success. With all the medical personnel gathered in one area, it was much easier to treat the sick. And soon, the fever was eradicated. Out of habit, the community stayed in this house as a single family to this day, of which I am the patriarch. The goat headdress symbolizes the single species of beast that provided us with food and drink during the dark times, and for your information, it's permanently adhered to my head. We dubbed ourselves the Black Circle. In name of the black table in the dining hall we would gather around to tell stories of hope to inspire one another. The event you were at the center of was known as a neophyte sacrament. We give the newcomer a small dose of a hallucinogenic and provoke you to reveal your true feelings to us in order to tell if we can trust you. I was strongly opposed to the sacrament, but I was pressured by the others and had no choice. The words we used were simply to disguise our discussion due to the circle's lack of trust. As for the actions of Alabaster, I sincerely apologize.
Lombard pulled up his massive form and spoke directly to me.
Here I am, Valentine Ambrose Lombard II, with nothing to hide, at your service.
Needless to say, I was awestruck at the volume of information that was imparted unto me. Before I could respond, Lombard asked,
Any questions?
I shook my head just as a woman wearing simple brown robes came into the room, dropped to one knee, and said flatly, You are needed in the infirmary, my lord.
Lombard turned to her and stated, I will be there as soon as I can, Alice. Did Stephen have a run-in with the thresher again?
No, she laughed with a smile, eyes still trained on the floor. Pierre was picking on Sylvia again. She snapped and let him have it with her little fists. I have them both down there waiting for you. Oh, good night. Who's going to bed? Beans. Oh, good night, Beans. I hope you have a good sleep. I'm glad you're at least getting some. Thanks for joining. I'm sorry tonight wasn't the most, hasn't been the most chat focused. But it's always a pleasure to see you here. Thank you for not waterboarding me. Good night, Beans. Okay. Now where was I? There we are. The leader gave a hearty laugh.
That Pierre, almost as mischievous as I was when I was a little boy. He turned to me. I will be back to speak with you later, friend, but now I must deal with this matter first. Get some rest.
Both the leader and the woman walked out of the room and shut the door on their way out, leaving only silence in their wake. Wait, back to... Oh my gosh. No, not back to 20. We're gonna do the hydrate. Oh, wait, you want... If I hydrate, I might get more of them. Okay, I will add it to the debt. Okay. Posture check. Oh my gosh. Beans, I thought you were going to bed. Okay. Let's do some stretch. Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you, Beans. That stretch was needed. All right. You all stretch too. Make sure you stretch if you haven't gotten up in a while. Need to keep that blood flowing. All right. Oh my gosh, I almost fell. We'll call that good for now. We will never forget, Nate. Oh, and posture check. All right. There we are. Okay, I lost my spot again. Oh dear. Both the leader and the woman. Oh, here we are. My head felt heavy, and I decided to take my new friend's advice and rest my eyes. I awoke in what looked like early morning to see Lombard sitting at the desk at the edge of my room.
"Morning, friend,"
he said joyfully.
"Come, sit, have something to eat."
He stood up from the chair to reveal a platter of sausage and bread with a glass of juice next to it. I was able to pull myself up from the bed. My legs were sore and my knees locked up, but I hobbled my way to the desk and sat down. I began to sample the meal.
"Gather your strength. You will need it for later. I have gotten it approved with the circle. I shall give you a tour of the house and the grounds around 3 today. So, try to get those legs working by then."
Lombard gave a quick wave of his hand as he left the room like wind blowing through the woods. I had finished my odd-tasting dish after a few minutes. I sat for the remainder of the time, stretching out my tired legs while looking out the window. The full day of bed rest and the struggle against whatever held me to the ground had left them aching and weakened. An expanse of farmland spread out in front of me, ending at a dense forest, the single dirt road lined with torches leading up to the house. I assumed that somewhere in the woods there was a picnic table and the altar. And beyond that, the cornfield where I had met my guide, and somewhere beyond that was Elizabeth. Home. I sighed.
"Ready?"
I jumped with surprise as Lombard broke the silence in the room. Time had passed faster than I expected.
"Come, follow me, child. Or friend."
Sorry, I was reading chat and I saw child there. I made uneasy strides out into a foyer with a painting of another goat-headed man, a massive chandelier lighting the room below, and the rows of rooms lining the walls.
"Here is the second floor, we used for boarding for our members. The room you are staying in is the guest room. It is not used very often. It overlooks the entrance room, which we will visit later."
"Is that you in the painting?" I asked.
"Ha, no, that is the founder of the circle, my great-grandfather, Ambrose Garrett Lombard. What a great man. I wish I could have known him in person."
"So he started the whole goat head thing?" I laughed rhetorically. We made our way downstairs, wandering through the entrance room and the living room and the sitting room, listening to Lombard's tales of him reading stories to the children by the fireside in the winter, and of the old man who was the master of the old grand piano sitting in the living room. I asked him about the double doors at the end of the entrance room, only to receive a response that I should not go in there, as I do not have high enough clearance to enter yet. We walked outside and we explored the grounds. From the outside, the house was massive. It was clearly some kind of old farmhouse. We made a left turn around the house to find 3 buildings off in the distance. I asked Lombard what they were for. He said one of them was the chapel, now dilapidated and unused, a small building used for school, and a smaller concrete building used for storage. I shrugged plainly, and we moved on. Sorry, I was just reading chat a little bit. I took that moment to ask, "Well, sir, what exactly is your job here?" Lombard stopped mid-walk to contemplate my question.
"I am the headmaster of the order, friend. I am many things. Judge, principal, father, doctor. Lots of things, friend."
We walked back up to my room, and Lombard instructed me that now that I know where I am, I can move about the property at will, but only during the day. At night, I was confined to my room. Seeing as the sun was descending below the horizon, I went off to bed. I spent the next few days wandering the grounds while getting my bearings with the area and getting a sense of location. After speaking with some of the other followers of Lombard, I noticed a constant theme. They never broke eye contact, and they spoke in a very calm manner. Regardless of age, they would find a clever way to avoid any of my questions, specifically ones involving Lombard, the concrete building, or what happens in the Grand Hall. Making my way out to the structure, which was about a football field's length from the house, I decided to carefully inspect it. The building had no windows and a single iron door secured with a large padlock. I was going to investigate it further, but before I could find a way to open the lock, the sun began to set, and I reluctantly returned to the house. A couple of weeks of fruitless investigation passed until I was finally returned to my full healthy state. Feeling my strength returning, I began my morning with a quick workout. Lombard entered mid-push-up.
"So, I see you are back on your feet again," he said dryly.
"Yep, feeling pretty good," I returned. Lombard paced back and forth.
"I imagine you will want to go home soon?"
He sighed. I stood up and looked at the tree-like figure. "Yeah, I suppose. I miss Elizabeth quite a bit, and I want to make amends."
Good.
Lombard paused.
"Robert, if you could stay just one more week. We feel like you have become a member of the family around here, and we wish to perform a departure ritual this Sunday, just to say goodbye. You have been one of the kindest outsiders we have encountered in a long time."
I walked up to the goat-headed giant, looked him in the eye like he had done so many times before, and smiled. I would be honored, friend. That night, just before sundown, Lombard drifted once more into my room. He spoke in a much more serious tone than before, and his posture created an imposing aura about him.
"Robert, we are having a ritual in preparation for your departure. I require that you do not disrupt it. Please stay in this room until my return. It is just a kind of rehearsal. I don't want to ruin any surprises."
I quickly nodded in agreement, trying to ignore the sudden change in the headmaster's attitude as he sped out of the room. I had not been truly honest with my host during my stay in the house. For every act of hospitality he offered, there was an event or element that would cause a pang of distrust in my mind. One moment, Lombard would provide me with food, and I would see him teaching the children like a loving relative. But the next, I would notice the concrete shack or remember what had happened in the woods weeks ago. The loving kindness of the members juxtaposed with their unnervingly smooth speech and piercing stares. Every impulse in my mind told me to run, but I knew I would never make it far before I was captured. Or worse. This mysterious decree had brought my curiosity to its breaking point, and that night I made my decision. As soon as the house fell silent, I removed my heavy work boots, slid the door open, and stepped into the dark abyss. I had been climbing trees in my neighborhood park since childhood, and the challenge of scaling the banquet hall's walls came easily to me. After making my way down the stairs, through the foyer and out of the door without so much as a sound, I was impressed with my sneaking abilities. I ran around the side of the hall and began my ascension. The climb was easy enough. Several chunks were missing from the old bricks, creating excellent handholds. It wasn't long before I found myself on the roof. From the inside, I could hear the same droning sound that I had heard my night in the woods. I desperately searched for a way inside when I came upon a small hatch that led to a ladder that dropped off in a kind of storage attic. Hunkering in next to some old boxes, I was able to hear and see the events unfolding below me with startling clarity. A crooked grin grew across my face as I anticipated the truth. "Oh my gosh, hi John, it's good to see you. I'm glad you could pop in. We're just reading some of our spooky stories today." This one's a bit of a long one, and honestly, I don't know how I feel about it. I think there's a good story here, but it's a little dry, I think. But I hope you're doing well today, John. And I am going to go ahead and continue my story. Actually, let's do a quick hydrate. A lot of Johns joined. We did get another John, at least one. I don't think we had more than two. This is the second. We had John Castra join earlier. And I don't know if he's still here. Resident Evil 4. Yes. I've definitely been getting RE4 vibes, saw we. Alright, that's one more hydrate down. Alright, the count is updated. Ooh, John playing Overwatch with friends, but thought you'd listen in while you play. Aw, well thank you, I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm really hoping it picks up soon. It seems like it's heading that way. Alright, back you go. The droning of the hooded worshippers hushed, and the mammoth Lombard took the stage next to an eerily familiar altar. He raised his hands like the night we first met as he spoke with gusto.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Black Circle, I gather you once again to bring praise to Sekra, and to celebrate the presence of the Pale, though whose life shall meet its beautiful end on the eve of this coming Sunday.
The crowd roared with approval.
My friends, I sincerely apologize for the Lombard growled under his breath. Interruption a few weeks ago.
The audience erupted into a shower of boos and shouting.
Now, my children, I have planned a rehearsal of sorts to show you all how we shall deal with the wretched Pale and drive this scourge from our beautiful order. I present to you the man who is to blame for the delay, Brother Alabaster.
Each member howled with joy as they pulled a blindfolded man, naked save for a loincloth, with numerous strange tattoos adorning his chiseled torso, into the room and onto the altar. I felt my dinner rise in my throat. 3 men in red cloaks fastened the man's arms and legs to the altar as Lombard reached into a chest behind him. Alabaster was sobbing with fear, and his pleads for help became incoherent screams as his limbs were restrained until one of the men in red wrapped a piece of cloth over his mouth to silence him. Lombard spun around at lightning speed and raised a shimmering dagger above his head.
Here and now, we give an offering to you, Almighty Sekra, an offering of flesh and blood.
Alabaster was writhing now, the altar glistening with sweat, the blood welling at the corners of his mouth as he struggled to cry out. The crowd lurched forward with anticipation, licking their lips with bloodlust in their eyes.
Now, for the glory of the mother, he gives his life.
Lombard pulled away the cloth, and Alabaster let out a scream so loud I could have heard it from my room.
Help me!
The gag was pulled back, and he was struck across the face. They pulled the cloth back again, and he cried, "For the glory of the mother, I give my life." Without hesitation, Lombard drove the blade into the man's abdomen as he resumed screaming with pain and fear. The headmaster made a long cut up the stomach. I could hear the bones cracking and the flesh ripping as the man moaned in agony. Liquid scarlet spattered the headmaster's hands as it spouted from the gaping wound. Lombard tossed the bloodied knife aside. Then he plunged his hands into Alabaster's twitching body and wrenched his arms upward several times until what appeared to be a liver was ripped away. I nearly vomited. Lombard held the dripping organ above his head and shouted, "For the glory of Sekra!" He plunged the hunk of flesh into his mouth like a wild beast. The crowd cheered with jubilation at the unholy sight. The corpse was unbound and dragged off to the side of a room, into a side room. I was frozen, unblinking, as my past feelings for my seemingly kind friend shattered. Before I could process what was going on, I heard Lombard address the members.
"No one is to speak of this to our guest. And regarding the pail, I'm going to see how our friend is doing,"
he said with a chuckle as the cloaked men and women overflowed with laughter. I was back on the roof before Lombard could leave the stage. Part 3. Kinky Nate. Oh my gosh. I mean, for some people, yeah. But I don't think our hero of the story is into that sort of stuff. All right. Part 3. With my heart thundering, I bolted back to the roof as fast as lightning and hurled myself from the roof. Using my prior climbing skills, I tucked my legs in and rolled across the grass. I only sustained a few minor bruises. I ran around the side of the house, up the stairs, and back into my room just as I heard the great hall open. I heard Lombard's thundering footsteps as he climbed the stair and approached the door. The door opened and the giant's eyes met mine.
"Good to see your evening was a relaxing one, friend."
I shrugged and said, "I've had better. I had a strange nightmare. Really messed with my head. How did your ritual go?" Playing dumb with him as best I could. Lombard nodded.
"All was well. The congregation is eagerly awaiting this Sunday's celebration. Enjoy your rest, friend."
I could still see little bits of hastily wiped away viscera clinging to his mask. Lombard shut the door as I heard the rest of the worshippers coming into the entrance hall. I sat and pondered my situation. I was trapped in this godforsaken place for one more week until they had decided to kill me. I had 1 week to discover what was really going on here, and 7 short days to plan my escape. The next morning, I woke up early and ran off to the library, thinking that would be a good place to learn some information. The place had a wealth of books, everything from War and Peace to Pat the Bunny. I wandered the endless shelves until I reached the back corner of the room. All that sat on the last dusty shelf was an old book with a leather cover. Nothing about it caught my eye save for the title, The Book of Sekra. Remembering the mysterious name from the horror of last night, I snatched up the scripture and scurried out of the library unnoticed. I sat at the desk in my room and flung open the ancient volume. Before me sprawled mounds of text in Old English. Though it was in English, it was still difficult to understand as I trudged through chapters of sacrifice and lore. I found not much beyond useless gibberish about ceremonies, a few of which I recognized. The method in which one is to fasten a goat's head to their own, and a full-page print of a slender woman sitting on a throne with what looked like blood spattered around her mouth. Below it read, Secra, Her Holiness. I returned the book to the library and decided to scour the grounds. Seeing as there was no way I could budge the padlock on the concrete shack, I instead made my way to the chapel. The door slid open easily enough, and inside was what appeared to be a graveyard of old boxes and furniture. After searching for a few hours, I found nothing of interest amongst the stacks of rotting wood. The schoolhouse next door yielded similar results. A few desks sat in simple rows with a teacher's desk with a plaque bearing the name Master Lombard, and a chalkboard at the front of the room. Nothing else. Feeling defeated, I emerged from the building when something caught my eye. In the grass at the door of the concrete building sat a shining padlock. My heart leaped in my throat, and I sprinted towards the shack. I reached for the iron handle of the door when it suddenly sprang open. A short, stubby man emerged quickly. Shutting the door, he noticed me and pushed his back against the door and spoke. "Oh, no, boy. Don't go in there. This place is not for the outsiders. Turn back around, boy. Go back to your room, lest I call for the headmaster." I sighed and grudgingly returned to the house. Though I was distraught over this defeat, I returned to my bed and met sleep with open arms. During the following days, I felt my sanity slipping away as I slowly came to grips with my fate. I stayed in bed most of the days, refusing to eat and trying to relive as many happy memories as I could before Sunday's inevitable bloodletting. Several times during my stay, I had seen people running for the woods, but they were almost immediately apprehended by groups of men clad in red cloaks. I feared the same would happen to me, and decided against making a run for it. Eventually pulling myself up on Saturday night, I thought about my situation once more. Clasping my hands together, I contemplated how I could possibly survive. By the time I shut my eyes, I had summoned my last shreds of bravery and constructed a plan with a mental image of the house so I would know my best route out of this place. Shutting my plans away in my head and taking a deep breath, I surrendered to my subconscious. All right, everyone, we are going to take a quick bathroom break, so I'm gonna run, let's say, a 3-minute ad for you, and I will be right back. All right, let's don't fall in. Thank you, John. This time I will heed your advice. All right, let's switch you over for that. All right, I will be right back, everyone. All right, everyone. I am back. We've got just a few more minutes on the ad break. If you stuck around, thank you. We will get our story. Ooh, an eagle ray. That's very cool. Thank you. If you were one of the ones sitting through the ad break, I hope it wasn't too miserable. I only run them when when I need to break away for like a bathroom break or to fix something. So you didn't miss anything. We waited for you. Now, let's go ahead and, actually, let's do another hydrate real quick, and then we will continue our story. All right. We can mark that off in our good idea. Oh my gosh, Sully, you're such a bully. Oh, welcome back, Mew. I just got back from a bathroom break myself, so you have some solid timing. Although I don't know how much of this story you've missed. It's been a long one, but we're making progress. We're in part 3. I am not sure how many parts there are, but it feels like it's getting closer to the end. All right, where were we? Surrender. There we are. I rose late on Sunday afternoon, unfitting for one's final day on Earth. But the inevitability of death weighed on me and kept me in bed. Lombard entered the room around 6 o'clock.
Are you ready to leave us, friend? We are making preparations for the ceremony now. When you are ready, please approach the painting at the other side of the second floor. Slide the painting to the right, and it should reveal a staircase. The staircase leads to my chambers. I need to perform the finishing touches for the farewell.
I quietly nodded as the door closed. For a few moments, I sat and considered my plans. Sitting, sweating, breathing heavily, I made my decision. I snatched one of the pencils from the desk drawer and slid it into my right boot. Following the giant's orders, I climbed the hidden staircase and entered a large circular room. The walls were lined with bookcases, with a massive desk resting in the center. On the desk sat piles of papers and a typewriter. Moonlight flooded in from the window above it all. Lombard greeted me with a hearty laugh. He told me to remove all of my clothing except for my pants. I obliged and slowly inched toward him as I began unlacing my work boots. My left sock and boot sat on the floor next to me, and I began to work on my right. Glancing behind me, I saw Lombard looming in anticipation. The typewriter too, Solly. Yeah, this person was very much inspired by Resident Evil. I smirked and slowly slid the pencil from my boot. Without hesitation, I drove the pencil with all my might into the Titan's stomach. Lombard buckled from the strike and dropped to his knees. I heard blood gurgling in his throat. I snatched the typewriter from the desk, slid it across the desk as hard as I could, and smashed it across Lombard's face. The headmaster collapsed to the ground in a puddle of his own blood. Turning, I was about to make my way out of the room when I heard quiet laughter emanating from behind me. I spun around to see a bloodied Lombard rising from the carpet. His mask was now distorted and blood-soaked.
You, friend, are smarter than the average fool we drag off to this place, he croaked.
I gritted my teeth. I'm leaving this place. I know what happened a week ago. Now tell me what really goes on here. Lombard chuckled.
As you wish. What I told you about our history that morning was, in fact, true. Though there were a few things I left out to keep you under my thumb. Those two cousins who founded the town are closer to us than you think. One of them was my great-grandfather, and the other was yours. Medicine was no longer working to drive away the blight, and my ancestor, great visionary that he was, decided to turn to other means of treatment. He found an old book amongst what he had found sightseeing in the old country. You seem to be familiar with it, which outlined how to give praise to an ancient goddess, Sekra. In exchange for a human life, Sekra would save another. We soon began using her divine will to save the community. However, your great-grandfather, blinded to reality by his morals, left the village. Just before the birth of his child, he made a vow to Dialis, the brother and polar opposite of the glorious Sekra, god of morality and justice, that his bloodline would be forever devoted to the eradication of our order. This whole ordeal has been our effort to destroy the one human who can destroy us and end the bloodline once and for all.
I shook my head at all his story and asked, So all of this was planned? How much of this is a plan? How long have you people been trying to do me in?
I shall get to that in a moment, but here is a secret you will truly enjoy. Normally, one of your blood could cause a member of our order with an aura as dark as mine to drop dead at a single touch. I took this into account when dealing with you. I have been nullifying your power with the one thing that will weaken it: human flesh and blood.
I went white at Lombard's statement. He began to laugh even harder.
That's right, friend.
Derpy, wasn't he literally just choking on his own blood? How is he talking? He got over it, I guess, Derpy. He's definitely got some, Sekra blessings to him. Thank you for the bits. I don't remember if I thanked you for the bits earlier, but thank you so much, Derpy. You give me way too much money. But I'm glad that we've been getting enough to make this stream better for you all. So thank you. And we're making our way towards unlocking that hobo catch. All right, let's continue our story. Where were we? He began to laugh even harder.
That's right, friend. I have personally slipped a bit of human into each of your meals since you got here. You never even knew. Oh, your ancestors would be proud of you.
Little did he know I hadn't eaten in days. I flung my hand out and grasped Lombard's wrist. Wrenching down, I felt a texture similar to squeezing down on raw meat. The giant roared as droplets of liquefied flesh dripped to the floor. I apparently still had some power. He roared with pain and anger. I continued to twist and yank with my vice-like grip, felt the crunching and oozing of his now gelatinous bone pulling away from the muscle. Suddenly, I jerked with all of my might and gripped onto Lombard's severed hand as the rest of him fell to the ground in a writhing heap. Lombard clutched his bloody stump.
I see you wizened up to my trickery. Clever man that you are. No matter. You will not leave this place alive. I will see to that.
I shouted to him. "You will never kill me, you monster. As soon as I escape, I'm taking Elizabeth and getting as far from town as we can. You will never be able to find us." Lombard began his hoarse laughter again.
"You will never be safe, friend. Even when you think you are the most protected, we will be there, watching you. We will never forget. Not even with that girl of yours are you safe. Wait till you hear that tale. Surely you notice how your emotions distorted when you were close to her. You should know how we took the liberty of turning her into a tool of sorts. We altered her mind and to force you into awakening the ancient blood in your veins in order to drive you apart and into the arms of the circle. She was one of the most instrumental tools in our plot. She was such a naive girl. What a fool. Pretty, too."
I lost it. I flung myself at my captor once again, and pressing my boot to his chest, I wrapped my hands around his horns and began to pull. Lombard screamed with pain as I pulled the mask. I felt each stitch pop as I wrenched it upward. The Titan began to flail his hand and stab at my body, but every contact with my skin resulted in a feeling akin to a man punching a slab of molten metal. With one last ferocious pull, I felt the final stitch tear, and I flung the headdress across the wall in a splatter of blood and teeth. You sly dog, you got me monologuing. Oh my gosh, that's so true, Derpy. It very much is that. Lombard's body flailed, and I ran to the door. His disfigured face writhed as he cried into the air.
"I swear it, Robert Elm. You will never escape the hand of the Black Circle. You will die by my hand."
I smirked at my handiwork. "We will see, friend." I promptly sprinted down the staircase and out of the silent house. My legs ached from the fight with the giant, but I shrugged off the pain and ran across the grass as fast as I could. As I passed by the great hall, I could hear shrieks of terror and sorrow. I chuckled at the reaction I had caused. "I'll never see that thing again," I muttered. I hurried myself to the concrete shack at the edge of the property. I figured now was good enough time as any to see if I can get in that mysterious building. Halfway through the field, I turned to see hooded men with torches beginning their search for me. I quickened my pace. I was able to reach the unlocked door while the search party went off to investigate the barn and tool shed. Taking advantage of my moment of safety, I slowly slid the door open and saw a rather anticlimactic sight. The room was dimly lit by a single bulb hanging from the ceiling. Several barrels stood around the corners and walls. A workbench was fastened to the wall next to another large metal door at the end of the room. Just as I got to investigating the room, I heard footsteps from behind the second door. My heart skipped a beat, and I had no choice but to conceal myself in one of the barrels. I slid back the lid, was met with a horrendous stench that caused me to gag uncontrollably. Reluctantly, I climbed into what felt like runny swamp sludge and held my breath. As soon as I did, the old man I saw earlier pushed the door open and hobbled into the room, holding what looked like a corpse slung over his shoulder. He approached the workbench and flung the body onto the table. To my horror, he began meticulously working at the body with an assortment of knives, cutting and slicing with surgical precision. The entrance to the room opened again, and a group of hooded searchers entered and asked the old man if they had seen a man matching my description anywhere. He insisted that he had not, and after scanning the room for a few seconds, the men left as quickly as they came. I waited stiffly in the barrel, holding my breath as best I could, taking in brief sips of air and staying as quiet as possible as not to reveal my location. Suddenly, I heard the old man mutter to himself,
"Oh, yes, you will cook up nicely, won't you?"
He let out a quiet chuckle. I gagged again, half with sickness and half with shock. I had caught the man's attention. Deciding it was time for me to make a move, I silently lifted the lid off the barrel and slid my soaked form onto the dark floor. Fear gripping tight, lid in hand, I raced toward the stunned butcher and struck him in the head with the hunk of wood. He dropped to the floor with a dull thud. I snatched the blade from his hand and made a dash for the door, but not before looking at myself under the dim light. My stomach turned as I saw an entire body soaked in a heavy coating of blood and chunks of meat. It drizzled and pooled on the floor. It sickened me. Holding back the urge to vomit, I nudged the door open, revealing a dark tunnel, far more organic than anything I had seen in quite a while. All was silent, except for the drips of blood from my skin and clothes. I quickened my pace as I heard shouting from far behind me. I held my breath, ignored the looming claustrophobia, and soldiered on through the darkness. You wonder how all this is going to tie into the barkeep the MC is telling this to? It could just be like a Lovecraft style thing where it's someone hearing an eldritch tale from another person's point of view. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now, but it may be a sort of recruitment thing also. I guess we'll find out. It could all be underneath the bar. Oh my gosh, Nate, you're right. That could be a possibility. The near endless tunnel finally opened into a small candlelit room. It was only about 12 feet across with an arching ceiling. I had little time to examine my surroundings, for when I entered the room, I saw a hooded worshipper with his back facing me, holding what appeared to be an old hunting rifle. Though at first my heart raced as I anticipated my own death, I was stunned to realize that he was unaware of my presence. Seizing the moment, I lashed out at the crown on his head with my stolen weapon. The man let out a quick yelp, fell to the ground, and lay motionless as blood pooled around his hood. I let the knife rest in his skull and snatched up the firearm. "Here's something I can use," I mumbled to myself Sorry, I was checking a notification I had, and I lost my spot. I mumbled to myself as, "Oh, hi Adam Crow, how are you doing? Hey y'all, glad I could come in for story time. Yeah, it's been a long one. We are getting close to the end though. It's been a good story though. Thank you for the raid. Let me get you closer. It's good to see you. Oh, with a party of 3. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. For anyone coming with Adam Crow, I hope you enjoy the last little bit of our story. Normally we would have finished by now. I usually go for 2-hour streams, but this story is running a little long. It's been a lot of, it's basically been in a Resident Evil 4 story. A lot of cult people. No problem. Glad to spread the love as always. Well, thank you. I always appreciate seeing you, Adam. And Derpy, can you give Adam a shout out real quick? Oh, perfect. You're on top of it. I'm always really bad about the shout outs, but sometimes I remember. Oh no, Jemmy, you slept through story time. Hope it's good. Well, you can still catch the end of story time, Jemmy. Thanks for the shout out. Much obliged. And as I always say, if you guys haven't checked out Adam Crow, he definitely deserves your follow. He's always very fun to watch, whether he's got, 1 or 10 viewers, it doesn't matter. He's always entertaining and upbeat. Got a very good attitude. All right, well, let's finish our story. We're getting close. And, yeah, if any of you came with Adam Crow, stick around, give a listen to the story, see if you like it. But if you got to do some other stuff or you're just not interested, no worries. I won't be offended if you just decide you want to leave. All right, let's send you back here. Currently doing a joke where, oh my gosh. I am not going 19 hydrates in debt. Yeah, they kind of spammed. No, I'm drinking. I'm drinking now, so it's still 18 hydrates. Yeah, they my chat kind of spammed me with hydrates, so now I have a hydration debt to pay. And I learned that I should have a cooldown for it. Okay. Let's continue our story. We're almost there. Now, where was I? Okay. On the floor, I noticed a small metal hatch. Seeing nowhere else to go, and remembering the search party on my tail, I opened it. Descending the ladder, it revealed. The ladder met the ground in an alcove on the shore of a small pond. Near the ladder, I found plastic tubs filled with things like shoes, backpacks, dog collars, among other things. Remembering the room with the old man and the cult's cannibalistic tendencies, the sight of all these tattered belongings was bittersweet. Grabbing one of the largest packs, I saw a pile of metallic objects out of the corner of my eye. Bikes. Taking a deep sigh, I picked up the newest looking one and rode off through the woods as fast as the wheels would spin into the night. Adam, oh yeah, you learned about needing cooldowns the hard way. You have a 1,000 point reward where you drink, and yeah, one of your followers loves to abuse that one. Oh no. Yeah, I might have put a little too much faith in the people who want to waterboard me. But now we have cooldowns. Your long lost brother. Oh my gosh, yes, Sawi very well could be. After trudging onward through the woods for most of the night and subsisting off some of the trail mix I found in the bag I took, I finally arrived in town. In the meantime, take a swig. Do we have another one? Because I took the last hydration and I don't see another one. So I think I'm caught up. Well, caught up aside from the debt. Where was I? Oh. Yeah, I know I'm in debt. Fine, I'll take another drink. We'll knock it down to, what are we going to be at? We'll knock it down to 17. Right, and then we're finishing this story. Oh, what was that? Oh my gosh. Did we just... Oh, we got an achievement for catching that guy. He must be special. Who caught him? Oh, it was Sawi. Good job, Sawi. You got me an achievement. All right. Down to 17. We the water mafia. This is the Astral pond after all. I have no idea who the little guy is. It must be some sort of inside joke with the developers. But he's rare enough that he warranted an achievement. By the way, we still don't have the biggest catch that Ryan got on his first stream. You guys need to find that, whatever it was he caught. I finally arrived in town. Needless to say, my friends and neighbors were amazed by my return. However, I knew I could not stay and chat. Walking up to my house, Elizabeth rushed out to meet me. I didn't even look at her. I continued inside, gathered my belongings, and climbed into my car, with Elizabeth chasing me the whole way, asking me what was wrong and where I had been. I ignored her. She looked at me with a face of sorrow that I knew was just a mask, and when our eyes met, I could tell she knew the answers to her questions. I backed out of the drive and made my way to the highway. I never saw that town or Elizabeth again. Many years passed. I traveled town to town, but every time they found me, they always found me. For years I have been running from them, but I doubt I will ever escape their grasp. I have found safe haven in this place for 12 years, but I fear that they are now drawing near once again. I'm too old to run anymore, my friend. Just too old now. The bartender stared in astonishment. So that is why you have been so solitary? Yes, I have fooled myself into thinking that the more I kept to myself, the safer I would be. The bartender stuttered. And you're drinking the sacrifice? The liver thing? Is that why? The storyteller let out a hearty laugh. Yes. When they do find me and bite into my flesh, I want them to choke on it. The barkeep laughed grimly, and the old man noticed that the moon was low. He stood and dusted off his pants. I'd best be leaving now. The sun will be here soon. It was a relief to finally share this story with someone. The bartender smiled. It was a joy hearing it. Have a good rest of the night, Mr. Elm. Robert nodded and started for the door. He took the subway home like he had every night coming home from the bar, shaking his hands to keep the cold away. After a short ride, he made his way into his apartment building and climbed the stairs. He took a brief sigh and slowly opened the door. After hanging up his coat and scarf on the coat hanger and taking a seat in an armchair near the door, he looked off into the darkness and something caught his eye. It was a gargantuan figure with pale blue eyes, watching him from the shadow of the apartment. Slowly, the shape plodded forward to reveal a grotesque face and a wicked, mangled grin. Robert Elm sat motionless as he looked up at the being. The things spoke to him in labored, devilish groan.
Good evening, friend.
The end. We finally made it. We're 20 minutes past time, but we made it. And we got to see Adam because of it, so, that was worth it. And I don't know, the story was... It was good. I think it was... Sorry, let me just get this screen out of the way. I think it was longer than it needed to be. There was a lot of really heavy description with it that I don't think it needed, but overall I did enjoy it. And what did you guys think? Adam, yeah, glad you were able to make it the tail end of it. Read that story very well. Aw, thank you. I try to make it engaging. I'm a very moody person, so it definitely depends on how engaged with the story I am. Like, some of the excuse me, some of the drier parts earlier on, I feel like I wasn't hitting those quite as well because it just wasn't interesting. My favorite ones to narrate are like cryptids or solo person in the woods. The cryptids are just amazing. I think my favorite one that we've read has been Fleshgate so far. That was a really good story. No End House was also really fun to read. The under the bar theory was gone. Yeah, I think the bartender was just an incidental character, or it could have been that they manipulated him the same way they manipulated Elizabeth. That would be my other thought. Let's see, is there anything? He became a drunkard so that the cultist that eats his liver gets alcohol poisoning. Didn't see. Yeah, I mean, if you know they're on your back, like, sure, self-destruct a little bit. Go for it. I'm petty enough that I think I would maybe do something similar. But I don't know. After a while, I guess you really just get sick of running. That's 12 years of alcoholism, though, just waiting for them to come and eat your liver. Ooh, got rain in 12 minutes. Ooh, nice. I wish it would rain here more often. It's very dry where I live, though. Well, what time is it? 6:30? I think it's probably time to call it. So y'all get the last of your fishing in, and we'll start saying our goodbyes. Do we have anyone that we want to raid today? Let's have a quick look. Raid browser. We want following. Chronicler is on with 18 viewers. That one Rebel is a VR chat streamer with 23. Aquafina's got 24. Actually, I want to look for someone else too, because I had a follower, and when I was nosy and checked on their Twitch information, they had a kind of interesting channel. I haven't followed them yet, but let's see if they are streaming. Oh, I must have typed it in wrong. Darn. Oh well, I don't remember what it was. I'd have to look it up again. Well, what are you guys in the mood for? Do you want to watch some Warhammer paint? Or we could watch some VR chat shenanigans. I don't know what Rebel's doing. Aquafina's doing Roblox. Any of those sound good to you guys? Otherwise, we can, if any of you have suggestions, we can go with someone else. Raid Train. Yes, passing along the love. Thanks for the soothing background voice while you played Overwatch. Of course, John. I hope the deeper voices weren't too abrasive. I feel like I don't do a deep voice very often anymore, except when I'm narrating things on occasion. Got back in the game for fishing top 3. Ooh, nice Sawi. With was it the Olive Ridley turtle? Bye everyone. Hope, yeah, good night. Warhammer. Yeah, so you know, like the Warhammer figures? You guys wanna watch Warhammer paint? Let's go ahead and do that. I will not stay for it. I'll do a quick pop in, but I'll have to eat dinner. You'll have to hear your deep voice sometime in VR chat when we chill. The thing is, like, I can't really, like, even though I can do a deep voice, it's gotten to the part where it's very forced for me. I have to try to do a deep voice. Oh my gosh, you fished up the car? Nice. Dang. Okay. All right. So we are going to raid, gosh, what was his name? Here, let me shift you to the stream end screen. Your deep voice sounds so unnatural. It does. It feels very off. All right. Let me get the raid set up. It does kind of have the vibe of, you know, a girl faking a deep voice, which is rather flattering. I wish you could raid straight from the browser. That would make things a lot easier for me. Instead, I need to remember what their names are. Okay. Oh, did they get off? Oh no, I just need to click the thing again. Okay. Click on that. And pull that out. Copy the name. No, why won't it let me copy?
So yeah, mostly just on the hammer.
Okay, we need to mute that. All this time that I've been, doing this stuff, and I am still horrible at the tech things. Yeah, I can do the /raid, but I need to know what the channel name is because I need to type it in. But I wish I could just go to the browser, find someone, and then click raid this person. Oops, I was pressing the wrong button. It doesn't like to let me copy paste from the Twitch name, so I just end up doing this. Alright, took us a while, but we've got that raid ready. So y'all head over there, enjoy. Let me bring you back in so I can give you hugs and everything. Where's my camera? There we are. Okay, and then we want to go back here. Okay, goodbye everyone. I love you all. I hope you had a wonderful time. Adam, if you're still here, thanks again for the raid. I really appreciate it. Always appreciated. Thank you, Derpy, for the bits. Thank you, everyone who followed today. Go eat some food, drink some water, get some rest, take care of yourselves and each other. Goodbye, everyone. All right, go raid. Go enjoy your Warhammer paints.